Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. If you listen, you can hear my laptop trying to take flight. I don't quite understand why every time I put it on the fan just goes absolutely crazy. But anyway, the fan's on. So welcome to another bi-monthly watches. So I gave you what I watched for the first section of July. Today I'm going to give you the rest of July. Today we're on the 31st. I'll probably watch a film tonight, so we'll get one missed out, but I'm sure that doesn't really matter. So let's get cracked on with what I watched. Getting the old video recorder on, guys. I much prefer the phone version of this app, what you can put down one side, but when I'm filming on my phone, I can't use it at the same time. It's a pain in the arse. Right, on the 21st, I watched for probably the third or fourth time Get Out, purely because my husband hadn't seen it. And I'm like, you need to see Get Out. Come on, you need to watch it. He's a man of few words. I said, well, what did you think of it? It was better than I thought it was going to be, he said. He did guess what was going to happen pretty early on. He's quite good at guessing where a movie's going to go. So obviously Get Out is incredible. It's a brilliant film. I love it. I gave it 4 out of 5. On the 23rd, now I should have clicked I've seen this before because I've seen this a couple of times before. It's the Dyatlov Pass incident. Now, this is one of the most interesting mysteries. I feel some people feel it's been solved already. I'm not quite so sure. If you're aware of who Mr. Ballin is, he is someone that tells stories on the internet of true stories. He calls himself strange, dark and mysterious storyteller. This is how he broke his channel and became massive. He told a story about this. And he talks about how he was at a water park one day with his family, left his phone at home in his apartment because they were on holiday, and when he got back there were so many notifications on his phone from TikTok that it had just completely blown up, and he'd got millions of views in this video about the Dyatlov Pass incident. So if you don't know about it, Google it and watch like a true story about the Dyatlov Pass. It's so interesting. So in February of 1959, 9 Russian hikers ventured into a remote area of the Ural Mountains. 2 weeks later, all of them were found dead. What happened is a mystery that has baffled investigators and researchers for decades. It has become known as the Dyatlov Pass incident, when 5 ambitious American students are issued a grant to return to the site of the original event. They gear up with the belief that they can uncover and document... Alright, I'm not reading all that. This is a found footage where these students want to go to the site of the Dyatlov Pass incident and try and find out what happened to these people. Now, the story is so interesting, the actual real story. This is a true story. How they were found wearing each other's clothes. People say it was paradoxical undressing, which is something that people do when they're in stages of hypothermia. They feel like they're burning up and they start to take clothes off. But they were found without shoes. One of them was found with no tongue. They were found with radiation on their bodies. There's just loads of different weird things that make no sense. People have tried to for years explain. They tried to put it down to an ice slide. I'm not entirely convinced because the radiation and stuff is just weird. But this is a found footage based around that. It's okay, it's not too bad, but I love found footage movies, so it's my cup of tea. But when you look at how interesting the actual incident was, this doesn't even begin to do it justice. But it goes somewhere with an explanation. It gives you a false explanation. So if you like found footage, it's worth a watch. On the 23rd, I rewatched Abigail again because my husband hadn't seen it. Would you believe he got to watch this without knowing about Abigail? I'll not say any more in case you watch and don't know about Abigail. But if you even, let me come off that. If you even have a close look at the poster, the movie poster, you know what the thing is. He really enjoyed it. He does like things that are quite like visceral and bloody and stuff, so I enjoyed it on my second watch, found it quite funny. I thought it was funny first time, got a few more of the gags next time around, so yeah, well worth a watch for a horror fan. Here we go, Sean. I watched a film called The Fall next. Now, this was recommended to me by my good friend Sean from Lost in the Real. It's a 2006 movie directed by Tarsem Singh. In a hospital in the outskirts of 1920s Los Angeles, an injured stuntman begins to tell a fellow patient, a little girl with a broken arm, a fantastic story about 5 mythical heroes. Thanks to his fractured state of mind and her vivid imagination, the line between fiction and reality starts to blur as the tale advances. I really had to sit and think about this for quite a time after to figure out what I really thought of it. I'll explain what I mean. So we do have the situation in the 1920s in this hospital. It's implicitly shot, it's beautifully shot, fantastically acted. This little girl, Katinsa Untaru, I mean, she is so good. She's so young in this. English isn't even her first language. She's such a beautiful girl, so sweet. You cannot help but love her when you watch this movie. And we do get a little bit of normality with her. She's sort of got the free run of the hospital, and she's talking to this young guy, a stuntman that's been injured, and he's obviously laid up in bed, can't move. And she gets to know him, and I think, you know, at the time she's initially an irritation to people, but she grows attached to this guy, and he tells her these wonderful stories where he mixes up these characters. And we actually get to see the stories of those characters played out using people that they see every day throughout the hospital. So they become these other characters, very otherworldly, very sort of like fantastical stories and fantastical imagery and characters. And the little girl sort of inputs her imagination, and we've his imagination for his story. So if you want to watch something quite dreamesque like in places, that doesn't have, what way can I put this? This movie is a movie about their relationship. It's a movie about him as a person coming to terms with what's happened to him and his life, and it's about a level of acceptance and a level of moving on is the wrong word. It's about a sort of cycle of his thoughts and him getting from one place to a next. He goes on a real, I don't like to say it, he goes on a journey in this movie, helped along by this little girl who is completely innocent, who can't see things that we the audience can see, that we the audience realise. In her naivety and childhood innocence, she doesn't see a lot of what we see. It's a beautiful movie. Now overall, the top thing I will say about it is a masterpiece of cinematography. Watching this, you will marvel from start to end at the colours, at how things are shot, at how things are laid out. It is stunningly beautiful, and you don't watch something often and say that. You don't really feel that things blend in, but in this, it's like every scene is like, oh my god, this is so beautiful. Fantastically acted. I really enjoyed the characters. I do not feel this will be for everyone, because it's not a very cut and dry story of this is exactly what's happening. I feel like I didn't feel properly invested in the stories that he was telling her, like, so those characters and what was going to happen to them, I didn't feel connected to them in the way that I felt connected to him and the little girl, and even to a degree some patients within the hospital. But I cannot deny it was a beautiful movie, beautifully filmed, and even though I didn't feel that sense of connection with all of the story, I suppose the fairy tale characters, I would definitely recommend it to anyone wanting to watch something a little bit different, that really wants to watch something that is stunningly beautiful. It's definitely not like anything I've seen before, and I did really enjoy it. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5, so thank you, Sean, for the recommendation. I'd never heard of it. On the 25th, I watched Deadpool and Wolverine on opening day. I didn't get to see it at midnight because I wanted to take my son, and we had to go to the next town over. If you watched my individual review, you will know that I took my 13-and-a-half-year-old to see this, and we went to Belfast to see it so we could get in. To American viewers, in the UK and Ireland, you must physically be the age of the certificate, and this is a 15 certificate movie in the UK and Ireland, meaning that cinemas are not allowed to show this to anyone under the age of 15. What can I say? I love it. 4.5 out of 5, a next to nearly perfect movie. I would pay that admission price over and over again just to watch the intro to this movie. I'm in love with it. Who knew? No, I can't even say. There's a song at the beginning of this movie. I'm not going to give spoilers, but the beginning of the movie is set to a song completely the other end of the spectrum as to what I usually listen to. How would I ever have known I was going to enjoy that song, folks? But I do. And I will never hear that song without seeing that intro. It was just genius. Loved it. If you haven't seen it yet, get your arse to the cinema before it's out of the cinema. This next one is so interesting, guys. The Devil's Bath. Okay. I got this recommendation from Spooky Astronaut's channel. As I say many times, she is from Australia. Her channel's entirely horror. Her name's Emma. She is just a fabulous reviewer, a very successful horror reviewer, lots of subs, and she knows her stuff and she sees everything. She recommends stuff to you that you will have never heard of. She does deep dives of older stuff. Fantastic channel. I cannot recommend her enough to you. Spooky Astronauts. So, this is her favourite film of the year so far. Sometimes Emma will like things that are that little bit different that other people hate. For example, there's one out called I Saw the TV Glow, which I haven't seen yet. I know she adores it, but I was on a stream recently with Mike from Did You See That and some other people that had actually, oh god no, I'm starting to get texts about a camp that my son's going to for a week and people keep sending me questions. Why they think I know anything more than them is another thing. I actually read when I'm told to read a thing, that's the situation. And people on that stream hated the movie. I Saw the TV Glow, but Emma loves it. So she does sometimes like things that are that little bit different. She loves to watch things that are like things she has never seen. More's coming. Sorry folks, you're going to get little flashes in that corner of stupid people sending messages. Where was I? She likes to watch things that she's never seen before, as in, she'd like to watch things she never seen. What a stupid thing to say. She likes to watch movies that offer something that little bit different. There's just so many. Just clicked. Oh, stop sending messages! Honestly. Okay. I apologise. The unprofessionalism is staggering, as is always. So, let's read Des Teufelsbad. This is German. Fantastic. 18th century Austria. Austrian, I apologise. Same language. Villages surrounded by deep forests. Huh. Okay, so 18th century Austria. Villages are surrounded by deep forests. A woman is sentenced to death after killing a baby. Agnes is marrying her loved one and candidly prepares herself for a spouse life. Soon after, her head and heart start to feel heavy. Day after day, she is increasingly trapped in a murky and lonely path leading to evil thoughts. Maybe not just thoughts. This is fabulous, guys. This is a little bit weird as well. I feel if you like Ari Aster stuff, you'll really enjoy this. If you like Midsummer, it's not hard to understand and it's not full of, it's not like, oh, you must get the symbolism and imagery. It's not as weird as Beau is Afraid. This is just a really well told, intricate story. It's very, very slow. But if you're willing to tolerate a really slow movie, this is fabulous. Okay, the bit about the woman and the baby that it mentions there is like a prelude. It's not part of this story, so don't feel you're getting a major spoiler there. That happens, and then we move on to Agnes's story, which happens in the same village that happened in. So it's just to give you a bit of background as to that event. Jesus wept. Honestly, I do really apologise, guys. This is going to keep happening because I've got my laptop linked up to my WhatsApp and I do a lot of admin for Scouts and people are harassing me about a week-long trip the guys are going on because nobody can read information for themselves. So, Agnes is, like I said, what does it say? 18th century, so it's set in the past, obviously. She's getting married. There's a lot of traditions, weird traditions, that's like, what the hell's going on in this? But when she gets married, she's not happy in her marriage. Her husband is not cruel, so to speak, or anything like that. It's just obviously not, they should never have been married. I'm not going to tell you anything more than that. Her mother-in-law is very interfering, is always telling her what to do. This is a story about a woman's descent into very dark depression, how she got there, how she was treated, and we just watch her feeling psyche all the way through this movie. It's harrowing. If you're watching this wanting to see loads of horrific images, there are images in this that are hideously horrific. but very sparingly, so don't expect stuff to be happening all the way through. It is at its heart a slow drama, very dark drama, but slow. There is, I'm going to give you a kind of a spoiler here because I want to warn you, because I didn't know when I watched this. It's nothing to do with the story, so don't worry about that, but there is a goat slaughter in this. I did do research to try to find out if it's real. I'm convinced it's a real goat slaughter in this. Not something I want to see. We can get into the complexities of that, but I'm not going to. We're not here to be political, but I'm convinced that goat slaughter in this movie is real. As I say, there's different views. There's a bit at the end to say all animals were treated blah 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 at the end of the movie, but someone else said that could possibly just mean that the animal was humanely euthanized. So I don't know for sure if that was real, if it wasn't real, but I just wanted to make you aware of it in case that's something you really don't want to see. If it wasn't real, it sure as hell looked real, let's put it that way. It's not grotesque or anything, but it's there. But this movie is brilliant. It's very slow, as I say. I do feel in retrospect I'm actually going to up that score by half a point. I'm going to put it up to 4.5 out of 5. Because thinking about it in retrospect, it's just such a good movie. It's so well acted, it's so insightful, it's so poignant, it's so sad, and it's got that sort of like air of just unsettling air through the whole thing, and how it ends, you're thinking, I'm not entirely comfortable. You know, we should be feeling this, but the film's trying to make us feel this. It's a different movie, and I for one really enjoyed it. So 4.5 out of 5 for The Devil's Bath from me. The next evening I watched The Bike Riders, which I missed in the cinema. So we've got a really stacked cast here: Jodie Comer, Austin Butler, Tom Hardy, Michael Shannon. This is, I suppose at heart, a drama about bikers back in the, when was it? Was it the 60s? I feel like it was around that time. So this follows a biker, they don't like to be called gang, motorcycle club. Now I know a lot of people that are bikers. I have dated someone who went on to be a biker. Anybody will know that most bikers are big soft lumps. They're really nice people. They tend to love animals fiercely. People that are into rock and metal and bikers are very similar people, cut from very similar cloth. I am very comfortable around bikers, always have been. They're the type of people that I like to hang out with. But in this time, these original motorcycle clubs were quite vicious, is maybe the wrong word to use. You did not want to cross them. They did not like being called gangs, but they were very much like gangs. If you crossed one of them, you crossed all of them. This is a movie about, told by Jodie Comer, who dates one of the guys in the gang. She is the best thing about this movie. She is fabulous. Her accent, she seems to be able to do anything. Now, I'm not American. You can tell me, guys, if the accent's terrible. I don't know, but I feel like she morphs so easily into different roles. She's telling the story about how she came to meet them, different things that happened, and where they are today, where they are now. So we get this whole journey, there it is again, it's a journey, folks, of where these different characters come from and to. It's a lot about psychology, it's a lot about emotions, it's about male like egotism in places, and it's trying to fundamentally get to the crux of different characters. It isn't going to be for everyone. It is, to me, mainly a drama with some fight scenes in, but I really enjoyed it. I didn't expect to, but the acting obviously is incredible, but for me it could have been better than it was, and Jodie Comer completely stole the show for me with that one. Oh, 27th, let's not go there again. I went to see Deadpool and Wolverine again, yes. My neighbour hadn't seen it, she really wanted to see it, so I took her to watch it. Wicked Little Letters. So this is on Netflix at the moment. Again, I missed this in the cinema. I love Olivia Colman as an actress, so this is why I watched it. I also really like Jessie Buckley. So this is a true story. This follows a lady, 1920s English seaside town, and she starts getting these letters that are just vile, that are full of swear language, really funny letters, to be honest with you, and the letters are read out by her infuriated father, played by Timothy Spall, who I also adore. And this like really stuffy man reading the words on this funny, that have been written to his daughter, played by Olivia Colman. I thought they were a married couple for ages, and Darren's like, no, that's her dad. I'm like, oh shit, I thought they were quite close in age. Anyway, besides the point, she blames her neighbour, who she was quite close to previously, played by Jessie Buckley, who just happens to be an Irish immigrant with a foul mouth. Is it a thing about us Irish girls? I'm not sure. So she plays a character called Rose. Olivia Colman, what's her name? Edith. She blames Rose, and it's a story about what happens in the village, about these letters, about their relationship, how it changes. It's coming up to a court case, what's going to happen. So it's like a little sleepy seaside town drama, but it's funny. I gave it a 3 out of 5. I don't think it's groundbreaking, but I would think if you like British drama comedy, it's well worth a watch. You will get a chuckle out of the letters if nothing else. And remember, it's true, guys. Then I watched Young Woman in the Sea. This is, let me get her name right, Daisy Ridley, otherwise known as Rey from Star Wars. Every time I see Daisy Ridley, I just think about Big Polly, because I think he's a #1 fan. He went to see this at the cinema and he had glowing words about it, so I thought, right, I need to seek this out. This is a true story. Now this blows my mind. The lady that this is the true story of is called Trudy Ederle. Now I had to look over there because I didn't know this woman's name, and it's disgraceful. So she was the first woman to successfully swim the English Channel. This is a true story again. Not only did she swim the English Channel, she did it with terrible weather conditions, including a storm, and she beat the fastest meal time by 2 hours. We don't know this woman's name. She went to Olympics, she done incredibly well, she was just such a top-rate athlete, and at every step of the way people tried to put her off. Her own family, her father said she shouldn't do it, everyone. She even had a trainer who was male who tried to scupper her attempt. I don't want to say any more than that, but if you watch the movie you'll see what happened. And it says there, overcome a patriarchal society. I'm not being man-bashing or man-hating, please don't think that, but at that time, if you were a woman, they had only just got the vote. People thought they shouldn't have the vote. People thought women shouldn't have equality. And if you think all people in the world shouldn't have equality, then I don't know what to say to you. To me, the only people that don't have equality to everyone else are people that are in prison for committing heinous murders and stuff like that. They shouldn't have equality, but the rest of us should have equality. And this is a movie about her giving that to everyone and just hammering the record that was in place, and it's fabulous. The film itself is very slow. I was really interested, but if you're not interested in that as an idea, as a concept, then perhaps I would avoid it. It's not groundbreaking like the last one. It's just a nice little movie, but to me it's quite important that we remember, not just, you know, everyone can remember the first man that did that, the first man that did this, but I'd never heard of this woman. And when you look at what she achieved and went on to achieve, it's a shame that I'd never heard of her. So, where are we? Inheritance. So Inheritance, this was foreign as well. Where was this from? Spadek. I think this might have been Polish. So, when their rich uncle passes, a mansion of intricate puzzles becomes the backdrop for his estranged family's quest to secure a portion of his wealth. So, I've heard people say if you like Knives Out, you will like this. Please do not think this is like Knives Out, it's not. It's nowhere near as good, but I can see why they're saying it. There is a similar humour running through it. I like the characters in this, which is why I've rated it 2.5. I like the acting. I thought the story was paper thin, but it entertained me and it kept my attention. I'm not going to give it a 3. We're getting more messages through. I'm not going to give it a 3 because I wouldn't say I loved it, but I would say if you want to watch something a little bit different, with a Knives Out kind of humour running through, then check out Inheritance. Basically they have to, it's not like Saw or anything, we don't have any like bloody quests, it's not a horror. Oh Jesus wept, these messages need to stop. I don't know if you're seeing them all on the computer, but they're all flashing up on my phone as I'm talking. So this uncle had an ulterior motive for getting his family together to have the reading of his will, who was going to get what. You find that out in the movie. Next, Locked In. Yes, this is a movie. Again, I believe this is in Netflix. It's British. This is one that my husband had pegged down the ending really quickly. So we have a nurse who played by Anna Friel, who isn't in this a lot. We mainly have a story of the person she's looking after, played by I can't say that woman's name, Famke Janssen. Sorry, can't say it. So she is a very rich woman, but her husband has left everything to their son. She's a bit salty about it. The son ends up getting with Rose Williams, who they get married. He has fits and stuff, and she's like becomes his nursemaid. She's really unhappy. He's treating her really badly. She's basically just a slave in this big house. The mother still lives there, but she's very much feels, this is my home and you're getting here and having my home when you're nobody, you're nothing. So the two women are kind of at odds. And something happens to twist things around. We start the movie with the mother in hospital, just having come round from being unconscious, like in a coma, and she's blinking something out to Anna Friel, and the word she's blinking out is murder. Now that is not a spoiler, that happens right at the start before the film starts, but then we play out what happened to get to the point where what happens, who tried to murder her. So that's locked in. Last night I watched Monkey Man. Now I'm sorry, I know everyone's loving this, which is the only reason I watched it. I do like Dev Patel, but I was bored shitless, guys. This is supposed to be the Indian John Wick. No. I appreciate the fight scenes are really well done. I thought the blood was really realistic. The story was not doing it for me. I was not engaged. So, Kid is an anonymous young man who ekes out a meagre living in an underground fight fight club. Wearing a gorilla mask, he is beaten bloody by more popular fighters for cash. After years of suppressed rage, he discovers a way to infiltrate the enclave of the city's sinister elite. I'm not going to read any more, but it wasn't for me. It wasn't my cup of tea. I wasn't engaged, just for the point my husband wasn't a big fan either. He didn't even persevere with it. Quite often, if I'm not feeling a movie and I give it an hour, which I gave this, I'm like, right, I'm going to bed, let me know if it got better. And he's like, no, I don't want to watch any more of it. So neither of us liked it. So 2.5 out of 5 for me, because I appreciate it was really well made and really well acted. Just wasn't my cup of tea. So if I say I don't like something, please don't think it's not a good movie. It's just not for me. And finally, last night in bed, I watched Jack Goes Home, which I think is on Amazon Prime at the moment. So this has got Rory Culkin in, who I think is a fabulous young actor, and Lynn Shay, who we see in a lot of horrors these days. This one's a bit weird, but it really appealed to me. I really liked it. So after his father is killed in a car crash, Jack travels home to Colorado to help nurse his mother, who was injured in the same crash, back to health. Here he discovers long buried secrets and lies within his family, his friends, and his very identity. So he opens a whole can of worms, but it's done very slowly. I thought Rory Culkin and Lynn Shay are fantastic in this. I love the acting. It's very slow. It's a bit unsettling and weird air in it, and it very, very slowly unravels. I know a lot of people don't like this. It was my cup of tea. I really enjoyed it. I liked where we went. I like how it ended. I like the unsettling feeling it left me with. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I gave that a 3.5 out of 5. Let me stop this. There we go. So that, guys, I've waffled for half hour. That, guys, is what I've watched for the rest of July. So let me know what you thought of any of those things I watched, and I look forward to seeing what you thought. I will get round to your comments eventually. I always do. It just maybe takes me a little while. But I'll go off and check my phone for 101 messages about a scout camp next week. Thank you for watching, guys. Over and out from Lisa Lives.